Hello, 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 beautiful souls. This is Kate Woodlock, founder of Empowerment Through Spirit. Happy Sunday. So today I really wanted to talk about trust and what happens to our ability to trust ourselves and our ability to trust others after abuse and through abusive relationships and through trauma and things like that. And after we've been repeatedly hurt and gone through abuse and trauma in our relationships and in our lives. And maybe it started when you were a child. A series of abusive relationships, toxic friendships, an ugly divorce or custody case with your children. Maybe your children were hurt. And obviously, if your children were hurt, that affects you greatly. An ugly divorce, an event, maybe it was a car accident or a rape, things like that. And that can intensely affect your emotional being and your physical being, all of the states of who you are and what you are and how you think and your emotional state. And all of those things completely steal your peace, your joy, and leave you feeling terrified to trust anyone, and feeling angry at the world, terrified to trust the world, unsafe, and feeling totally alone in the world. It's that feeling of if it's me against the world, and your world shrinks as a result. You isolate as a result, to keep yourself safe, feeling afraid of the world, always that feeling of being always on edge, feeling like every time you're at the grocery store looking around, like everybody that's around you is looking at you and judging you, and you're in that overstimulated fight, flight, or freeze mode, or you're at the gas station and everybody is against you and everybody might be like a possible assailant. If you've been through trauma, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody could be a possible perpetrator. Everybody could be against you. Everyone could be someone dangerous. Everybody could be someone to hurt you. And you shrink into this tiny world as a result. And you go into that overstimulated, that mode of anxiety and what is my world about? And oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, everyone's out to get me. Everyone's out to get me. And the doorbell rings and it's the UPS man because you ordered things from Amazon Prime, and you've got a bat next to the door because you're afraid of everything. You're afraid of everything. And you get lost in these endless mind loops of how angry you are at the person that did this to you, how angry you are at your ex-boyfriend, at your ex-husband, at the person that abused you as a child, at your mother, at your father, at all of the people that created this intense mindset of why you are the way you are, of this intense person that you've created, this anxious, overstimulated, I can't handle reality type of person, and you have to go to work and pretend like you're a normal person and suck it up, and when your coworker walks by and your boss walks by, you have to clench your teeth and pretend like everything's normal, like, oh my God, I'm all right. And when you're out to lunch or to dinner with friends, you have to pretend like everything's fine and I'm not as anxious as I seem, and you go to bed at night and you just wonder why you are the way you are, why you can't get to sleep at night, why you can't sleep at night, and you're popping melatonin pills like they're freaking Tic Tacs, and you wonder why you wake up 1,000 times at night thinking about insane things like who's going to break in at night, and all of these ridiculous things like what the noises are on the roof, and it's probably a squirrel or a raccoon or something like that, but like all of these insane things going through your mind, and you're cutting out friendships, you're cutting out all of these things just to try to keep your world safe, like lost in these crazy mind loops, unwilling to let anyone into your little bubble, unwilling to let anyone into your safe little bubble so you don't get hurt again, because your mind and your heart are so fragile from the traumas that you've been through. You're so unsafe in that little bubble that you've created. Like you've created that unsafe little, you've blocked off your heart into this little cave of lack of safety, and it hurts so bad that you've walled it off, and it's not safe. So you've put bricks around it, bricks and mortar, and it's not safe there. So you've walled it off and you won't let anybody in. And you're alone and unafraid and lonely, and you've trapped yourself into your little safe zone, and you won't let anybody in. Nobody's allowed in here. And you don't, what's really happening is, I'm going to tell you what's really happening is that you don't trust yourself. You don't trust yourself to accurately identify and enforce your own boundaries, to recognize those people and those energies that you want in your life and those that you don't. And that is a scary thing to really realize. And being angry at yourself for not realizing that, for knowing that you let people in that you didn't want to let in, for realizing that you let that asshole in, for realizing that you let that jerk in when you shouldn't have, for realizing that you let that jerk damage you and your children when you shouldn't have. And you don't need to forgive him. You can let him go. You can. You can let him go. You can let him go without forgiving him. You can let him go on his journey. But you don't need to be angry anymore. And you can let all of that anger go. And you don't need to be angry at yourself anymore. But that anger at yourself for letting yourself down in the past is what needs to go. And anger turned inwards is what turns into depression. And that is one of the biggest things, because that is when, the blinds get turned down, and you close and lock the door, and you stop answering the phone, and you forget who you are. You forget what made you happy. You forget who you are. You forget what made you happy in the first place. You forget your purpose in life. You forget how the things in life that you once pursued made you light up once or ever, or how you will ever pursue them again. And who you are in this world, or why you're here, or if that will ever light you up again, and what you're doing here or why. And that is a scary place to be, but it's not an unfortunate place to be. And that is a good thing to recognize, because when you begin to go inward, that is a great place to be, because when you look inward, that is the beginning of healing. So I am here to tell you that when you go inward, that is the beginning of true self-healing. So anger turned inward, that can be scary, and it can turn to depression, but it can also turn into light and bright and true self-help and true healing. But you also need someone to show you what that is, and show you what is actually happening, and show you the light on the other side. Because if you're in it alone, it can just look like dark and muck, and it can look like a bog, it can look like I don't know where I am. I don't know where I'm going. It can look like swimming underwater in endless darkness. And your life is not meant to be lived being stuck in fear and anger, unwilling to trust the amazing world around you. Like when you've lived these traumas and you've gone through these amazing things, and you're stuck blaming the people around you and living in that bitterness. And I'm not saying that, you've gone through these things and and you shouldn't feel that anger. Like, anger is a productive thing, but it should be directed in other places. It should be directed in positive places. You need to move those things to be able to propel you into positive life force, to propel you into the places that you are meant to go. Life is meant to be embraced, to be lived and experienced and loved at the fullest. That's why anger is such a fiery emotion, because it's meant to push you to the places you are supposed to go. So my question for you is, how much longer are you willing to sustain living this way, living in that anger, in that closed bubble of being bitter and angry, hating the people that abused you, hating your life, living in closed blinds, behind closed doors? If that is not the life that you want to live, shoot me a PM, because this is exactly what I do. This is exactly what I change as a healer, as a shamanic practitioner, as a Reiki practitioner, as an intuitive healer. This is what I do. I have a background in metaphysics and light work. This is what I do. This is how I transform lives. And I can absolutely do it for you. If you want a life of freedom, if you are done feeling afraid of the world, this is what I do. And if you want that life, shoot me a PM. Let's get in touch. I would love to work with you. I can get you the same amazing results I get my clients, and I would love to connect with you on your journey too. So I'm going to look at some comments now. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not good at doing that while I'm talking. I get a little bit jazzed up. Hi, Sarah. Your sadness turns into anger. That can absolutely happen. But anger, when sadness turns into anger, that's actually a really good thing, Sarah, because anger is a productive emotion. So when your sadness turns into anger, let that fuel it. And I've seen some of your comments on the page, and I know that you are into grounding and things like that, and that you are able to move those emotions. So move them and shoot me a PM, and we can get in touch, and I will help you to move those emotions and show you how to move them further. You can do this. You can do this, girl. You've got this. Hi, Ellen. Thanks so much for joining. All right, does anybody else have any comments or questions? I'll wait a few minutes here. All right, I love you all, and I will see you in the next video.